Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. In today's occasion, we are from Group 4. We want to do our presentation about teaching, reading, and writing. But first of all, let us thanks to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Taala that give us granted us with healthiness so that we can join or attend today's presentation. So, before we go into the material, let me introduce the members of Group 4. First is Muhammad William Ali with student ID number 2121222051. Next, Diana Cecilia Sinaga with student ID number 2121222060. Next is Nabil Nur Fatia with student ID number 2121222070. Next is Konita Nur Hasana with student ID number 2121222071. Next is Leisa Tasenia with student ID number 2121222076. And last but not least is me myself, Muhammad Rizika Tapani Surakusuma with student ID number 2121222514. So yeah, for the first material, it's going to be presented by me. So the first is about the consideration for teaching, reading, and writing. But before we jumped into the first material, I know some of you may think that when you are reading, we are simply getting this meaning from the text. But actually, we are also bringing the meaning with ourselves, because reading is an interactive process that involving the reader, the text, and also the writer. And when we are writing, we are likely to read or even reread what we wrote, just to make sure that we are simply communicating our intended meaning to the audience. And in the EYL scene, or maybe to English for Young Learners, these programs focus more on oral activities until the children have learned to read and write in their own language, or maybe at least to have enough oral English language development to build on for literacy. So here, I have compiled some of the important information for the consideration for teaching and reading and writing. So first is the role of reading and writing, especially in English for Young Learners language development. It is essential. It is a essential skills for language development, as they help young learners to communicate effectively in their target language, and also it contributes to overall cognitive development and academic success. And and the role of writing in language development, it helps young learners to express their thoughts and ideas, and also develop their vocabulary and improve their grammar and spelling, because it also plays a crucial role in the overall language development and academic success. Next slide, please. And providing, because we are focused more on reading and writing, we have to give the students, the children, a rich and varied reading environment, because it can help young learners develop, let's say, a love for reading and improving their reading skills. This can include a wide range of materials such as books, magazines, maybe online resources, because it can expose them to different genres, styles, and levels of difficulty because each reading materials have their own level and kind and one of a kind of difficulties. Next is using authentic materials in teaching. In reading and writing, using authentic materials is matter. Like, for example, using books, magazines, or resources that can because it can help young learners to uh, again develop better understanding of the target language and its context because it also provides them with real life examples how the language is used in various situations. And the importance of teacher support and guidance is also important because teachers should provide support and guidance to young learners as they develop their reading and writing skills. In this development stage, they need the guidance from the teachers. This can include individualized instruction and give them feedback and also encouragement. Is by giving them feedback, encouragement, is also building their confidence in learning, as well as creating supportive and inclusive classroom environment. And we cannot forget the technology. Uh, Technology because it can be used to enhance that already known methods, or we can call it traditional methods, by using technology. But the teachers, should use the technology in a balanced and appropriate way, and also they have to consider the needs and the abilities of the students. You have the technology has to match the the needs and also the abilities of their own students. Next slide, please. Not only teaching the assessment and evaluating their skills, it is important so you can track down the progress of every student, of every children, so we know that for example, children A, this kind of type of student, children B is this kind of type of students, and so on. So regular assessments help teachers to identify areas where young learners need some additional support and also adjust their teaching accordingly. They also can provide valuable feedback to students and help them track their progress. And using a balanced approach in teaching, balanced approach is it includes phonics, whole language, and the other methods that can help young learners develop a strong foundation in reading and writing. Because this approach allows the teachers to address the various needs and also learning styles for each students and provides a more comprehensive and effective learning experience. Okay, the last is not only the students but also the teachers also need professional development because teachers should should develop, should expand, should keeping up to date with the knowledge and also skills, especially the technology nowadays. They have a fast-paced progression, so the teachers also should keep up with that because because if the teachers could not keep up with that, they cannot bring the best that they should have and give the best to the children, to the students. These can include like attending workshops or conferences, maybe seminars, maybe as well as engaging in ongoing research, and also maybe reflection on their teaching practices. Every day teaching session, maybe they can reflect on after their session, maybe what is wrong with what method you can improve that, improve the steps that's wrong. Maybe some of that. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, now we are moving on to the, let's say, like the approaches. I say before then that in teaching reading and writing to young learners, there are balanced approach. There are three approaches that can be considered, that should be considered for young learners. The first is phonics. So, phonics is a bottom-up approach to processing a text. It focuses on the smallest unit of the text, called the letter, and it teaches children the relationships between sounds and letters, how it's symbolized in print, and how to sound a word. In phonics, there are a couple of activities. First is phonemic awareness activities. So, what is phonemic awareness activities? So, children need to practice discriminating English sounds, because before focusing on letter sound relationship through phonics, children need to distinguish English sounds, or we can call the phonemics awareness activities, so that because this training helps children to understand the rules of English, and over time it helps build reading fluency. um, there are some activities that can help or we can do for phonemic awareness activities. First is using traditional rhymes. What is for example, the traditional rhymes like woodchuck in, I don't know what it's called, or three little kittens, like that, using traditional rhymes in the classroom. Maybe next is going on rhyme hunt. Like, for example, the children are looking for objects in the class that rhymes with each other, or they can play matching mates. So the children given picture cards to children, and then having them find a picture that begins or ends with the same sound, or maybe that rhymes with the word they have, or the card they have. Next, developing riddles. So having the children developing their own riddles. They can come up with their own riddles. Or maybe they can work in pairs and groups, and they come up with their own riddles. And next is playing odd man out. So the teachers can, for example, posting pictures of objects that begin or end with the same sound, or have the same medial sound, and then they can work in groups or in pairs to match the words that have the same sound or the same medial sound. Next is playing a bouncing ball. The teachers can toss a ball to a student after saying a word, and then having the student to think of a word that begins with the same sound that the teacher said. But when the student cannot think of no new words, they can begin another sequence, and so on. Next is playing rhyming words walkabout. So it is like like when they hear towards the rhyme, they can take a step forward, and when they do not, words that do not rhyme, they can stand still, or they cannot, or they can just take a step back. Yeah, those are some of the example of activities, phonemic activities that can enhance the phonemic awareness, especially for English young learners. Next slide, please. Okay. So next is phonics activities. So before that, phonemic awareness is more focuses on oral language. Phonic is more focuses on written language with the same goal, like learning the relationship between the sounds and the letters, for example, of English. Um, like because typical children learn the sound symbol relationship and then they apply what they have learned in decoding words in the text. And there are also some activities that can back up the that can help the children in phonics activities. First is identifying the number of syllables in a word. Next is pointing. They can pointing words that share a common letter sound. Next is sorting. There are two types of sorting. They can sorting pictures or making a collage of objects that begin with the same letter sound, or maybe they can sort words that share a common letter sound. Next is matching. They can match words that share a common letter sound. Next is creating. They can create words from letters that have a common letter sound. Next is repeating chants with common letter sounds that are written on the board, for example. Next is using predictable or pattern books. But phonic activities is not only that. It can also a fun activities that can help them to expand the knowledge of phonics. And also the teachers can adapted some of the phonic awareness to phonics by including written word. So the fun activities that can be used in phonics activities are singing or chanting, like they're singing familiar songs or maybe rhymes, words that rhymes. And next is creating, filling the blank, for give the students a fill in the blank paper so that can fill them one by one. Next is playing backgate, like for example, they're matching letter or word cards with picture, and then and then can the children can find a picture that matches the letters and put them in the bag, for example. Next is playing hang up. For example, the teachers hang a picture card on a clothes hanger with a clothes pin, and hang it on the same clothes hanger but facing the other way. Display these display them to the children. So yeah, those are the activities in phonics. There are two types: phonemic awareness and phonics activities. Because even young learners that who already can read a language with a similar alphabetic system will benefit from this system, because because those two have different uses, because the phonemic is for oral and the phonics is for the written. So it has just helped the children to develop the English skills. I think that's it from me, and I will give it back. I will give it, sorry, and I will give it to Diana to explain the next material. So for Diana, time is yours.
Okay, I'll continue for the second approach for the next material about whole language approach. Whole language approach begins with the meaning and then use language in a content for further word or language study in which children bring their knowledge in the world in four types of clue. The first one is graphic phonemic clues, and then there are semantic clues, and then syntax clues, and also pragmatic clues. In whole language approach, there are several activities of reading that teachers or educators can do when they use whole language approach in classroom, which is uh, complemented by a similar sequence of writing activities. There are four activities that teachers or educators can do. The first one is reading aloud. Reading aloud is a crucial aspect of early literacy development for children. It can provide children with multiple opportunities to hear a story, poems, songs, and other texts that can read aloud. And then the reading aloud can help children or young learners to learn and participate in reading process, especially when the repetition and rhyme are present. For example, of reading aloud is songs can be used for practice letter names and sounds. With songs, children also can participate by making animal sounds or acting out the song's action. And the other example of reading aloud is echo reading, which is echo reading is can be another way for children to engage with the text as they can repeat the key lines after the teachers. And then next slide, please. Okay, the second one is shared reading. Shared reading is also essential component of early literacy development, which involves the teachers and students making the text together using a pointer or a shared copy of the book. With this activity, teacher can make or can being the next step. Teacher can use this being the next steps after doing read aloud. And then this activity can help students or young learners to build a strong foundation in literacy skill and foster a love of reading, so they can love reading or love to read a book, as it involves students to enjoyable reading and then demonstrate good reading strategies and also provides their support while children read along. And then the third activity is guided reading. Guided reading provides support for small groups of children at the same reading level or same kemampuan of children. And this activity can be focusing on specific reading challenges and strategies. Guided reading is an activity that can also be undertaken as a whole classwork. Guided reading engaging children in comprehension and then vocabulary building and also other reading activities. With guided reading, predictable books can repeated patterns can be helpful in building children's skills and fluency, as well as fostering confidence in their reading abilities. And then the last activity is independent reading. Independent reading is also a crucial aspect of developing strong reading skills in young learners for young learners. Independent readings can involve setting aside time for students to read, providing a variety of texts and encouraging them to read for pleasure. Independent reading also can be supported by providing books that are not too difficult for young learners, uh, which is beginner to to learn about reading. And then we can also helping students to find books that they enjoy Also can encouraging them to try different genres and reading levels. With this, teachers can also use strategies such as book clubs, audiobooks, and also reading aloud to foster a love reading in their students. Okay, next slide, please. All right. Now we move to the third approach, the third language approach, that is language experience approach, or LEA. Language experience approach, or LEA, is a valuable method for developing reading and writing skills in young learners. By using their own oral language as the basis for writing story, children can follow a step-by-step process that involves participating in a common experience. In a common experience, having a discussion, deciding what to write, and also dictating the story to a more competent writing. And the last is engaging in follow-up activity to develop their skills. LEA, or language experience approach, also offers competent writer and engaging benefits such as validating the children language, and then making clear relationship between speech and print, and also encouraging their creativity. With language experience approach, teachers can choose to write exactly what the children dictate or edit to text to provide a good model and reflect the differences between spoken and written text. And the possibilities for follow-up activities are endless, and LEA can help children to produce meaningful text from their own ideas and are expressed orally, and then express their feeling in written language. Okay, I think that's all from me. I'll give it back to the moderator. Thank you for the chat.
Okay, thank you so much for Diana for explaining about the whole language and also the LEA. Now let's move on to the next material. It is about effective reading activities that are going to be explained by Nabila. So Nabila, time is yours.
All right, thank you, moderator, for the time. Here I will present and explain about effective reading activities. The first is activities for beginning and more advanced readers. And the second is pre-reading, during reading, and post-reading activities. And the last is reading strategies. Next slide, please. All right, the first is activities for beginning readers, like word level. Here as you can see, here the strategies for and activities for the beginning readers, such as pointing to or circling initial or final letters in words, pointing to or circling words, sorting criteria of object or the object with this fine initial sound, and sorting or matching words that rhyme, labeling pictures, matching words with pictures with the same word or with word with defining initial or final letters, and sorting and categorizing words by type of object or similarity of sound, giving a word parts partially completed and or first and last letter, like first letter, and completing word or word and pictures puzzle, playing alphabet or word games, noting patterns in song or chart, filling in missing letter with pictures, who are creating words with letters, posting words to a word war, and creating letters college. And here is an example of a sequence of activities for beginning readers. That can also, you can do with a beginning writing activities using the song. Like you can see, here's the example, like head, shoulders, knees, and toes. The teachers, like the teachers mention like head and shoulders and touch her head, and the students totally physically responds like they touch her head too and shoulders and such as like this. And these activities might lead to a writing activities such as labeling the part of the body and face on drawing that is titled like my head or shoulders or knees and toes, or drawing and labeling the body or body parts of like the monster or like humans, and with several heads, eye, and trachea and toes. Next slide, please. All right, and the second is activities for more advanced reader. Like and scribbling words, this is the activities for more advanced readers. Filling words puzzle, choosing multiple choice items and pictures, arranging words, or matching text with similar formats, and following along with a text while listening to it being read like on CD or by the teachers, and correcting mistakes in a text while the teacher is and the correct version, and sorting true and false sentence, scanning, answering comprehension questions about the short text, or looking up the meaning of unfamiliar words, and taking notes in a graphic organizer, scanning a text for noun word chunks like bus stop or soccer ball, and engaging in jigsaw reading with each group responsible for different parts of a short text. Or the last is writing in a reading response journal. Next slide, please. All right, the second is the pre-reading, during, and post-reading activities. Here is the first is pre-reading activities, like pre-reading activities including taking a picture through the story of a functional text, predicting what the story of other text will be about, pointing to discussing the title, subject, and graphic of an information text, talking about what is already known about the topic and the text, like perhaps filling out KWL and advanced organizer as applies, and asking questions to be answered by the text, engaging in a variety of vocabulary activities. And during reading activities is like visualizing a scene, drawing a picture of a scene, proposing or summarizing at several places in the text, or predicting what will come next, rereading for better comprehension, filling in a graphic organizer like chart, table, or web, and correcting a text with errors, comparing to text. Next slide, please. All right, here is so many post-reading activities like labeling or writing sentence with illustration from the text, drawing scene and labeling or writing sentence with them, putting a slide illustration like such as like that, and filling in close activities, creating a mini book, engaging a reader's theater, and writing in the response. Next slide, please. All right, here is the example. The example post reading activities such as reading response journal, like the teacher give the student paper like what is the story or article about, and the students write it in the table, like did you like it, just write it in the table, what did you like it, what did you like best, what is one thing you learn. And then the second is close example of close activities, like the students complete the blank space, and students can also be provided with the words to choose from for each blank, or they may have to determine the word from context clues, as the above example. And closed activities can also be designed to provide grammar, like for example, if preposition or of place or adverbs and etc. And the last is reader's theater, like as you can see here, the students read, four students read in front of the class, and we read the text or the book, like they read, and then this is will help with, or even write simple script to use with pictures. And theater will work especially well with the grade activities, because uh, these activities each child reading a line in the way that animals spoke, like that. And here is the example of post reading activities. Next slide, please. All right, and the last is reading strategies. Here is there is predicting, monitoring, and predicting is a finding clue to what might come next in a text or from the cover, title, pictures, headings, and etc. Or and then the second is monitoring, like determining whether one's reading makes sense, and if not, rereading to understand. And the third is confirming, like finding evidence of an accurate prediction. And the fourth is connecting, making connection to prior readings, information, or experience. And then questioning. Questioning is asking question about a text while reading, which may include predicting the next part of a text. And then skimming. Skimming is reading to get the general topic or main points of a text. And scanning is reading to find specific information such as dates or names or answers to questions. And then the next is distinguishing, like between important and less important information. And then using context clues is looking at the context, like the pictures, other words, the place in sentence and function, like for better comprehension. And next is paraphrasing or summarizing, like while reading and after reading the text, you can paraphrasing and summarizing the text. And the last is visualizing, like forming image about what has been read in order to facilitate comprehension. I think that's all. I'll give it back to Margaret. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Nabila, for your great presentation. Now, let's move on to the next material. It's about consideration for teaching writing. It will be explained by Lisa. So, Lisa, time is yours.
I'm sorry, Rizky, but that is wheel dance part.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, so there's like miscommunication. So, okay, well done. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you to the moderator. I will explain about the consideration for teaching and writing. So, writing is a crucial skill that is often overlooked in ESL and EFL classes. It's a misconception that children must reach a high level of proficiency in English or learn to read before they can write. In reality, writing should be introduced early as it a daily activity for adults, youths for communication, social interaction, and learning. Incorporating a variety of texts into lesson plans can engage children and allow them to participate in creative and critical thinking tasks, starting with simple activities like filling in blanks or completing sentences. Children should gradually be given opportunities to engage in more interactive and authentic writing tasks. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this part will be explained by Leisha.
All right, well done. I will next the material. So I want to explain about approaches through the teaching and writing. So the first one, this is a product-based approach, and the second is a process-based approach. Next slide, please. All right, the first one is about a product-based approach. This is the name implies focuses on the final writing product, as the name is product-based, seeking to create as accurate a text as possible one in which the grammar, spelling, and even a punctuation and capitalization are accurate. This is the series of activities. The first one is there is controlled writing activities, and the second is guided writing activities. So what is the differences between both of these? We can see on the next slide. All right, the goal of controlled activities is to have students practice writing the language of with careful control. Control writing activities, di antaranya, this is the forming letters by tracing, creating physically with arm, hands, or even full bodies with other children. And then second is underlining stress words as they are spoken. And then the next is counting the words in a sentence or clapping with each word, and then copying words or sentence and the others. Next slide, please. So this is the guided writing activities. And for the goal of guided writing is to help the learners experience success while they also learn the relationship between their ideas, their words, and their writing. So the guided writing activities, it can be brainstorming topics or words to include, and then completing word puzzles with clues, and then fill in the blanks, and then completing sentences with the picture clue or sentence starters and the others. Next slide, please. Now, also this is the, what is that? The technique or the method that we can use also in the guided writing activities. We can use the putri. For the putri, it can be 5 kinds of the putri that we can use. The first one is name acrostics, and then 3-line poems, and then cinquains. For the fourth is shape poems, and for the last is poems from process. All right, for the second approach, we can see that this is a process-based approach. Now, in this process-based approach to writing, the primary goal is for children to express their ideas, to construct the meaning, and then to explore their linguistic and other resources. The most common approaches to process-based writing is writing workshop, but other free or independent writing may using a process-based approach as well. In this approach, there is 3 base activities. The first one is writing workshop, the second is shared and interactive writing, and the last is dialogue journals. For the first is writing workshop. Writing workshop or writers is a series of activities that help children to become authors, beginning with free writing and then moving through a series of writing steps or stages until they have produced a work that they want to share by publishing it in a class book, posting it on a bulletin board, or creating their own book based on Calkins, 1983, Hakem, Nabani, and Behus in 2008. All right, so this is the stages of writing workshops. The first one is brainstorming and discussing. This is steps that identifying possible topics to write about individually with a partner, as a class, or talking about them with others. The second is drafting. For the drafting, we can writing a rough draft, focusing on getting ideas on the paper and not worrying about spelling, grammar, or even word choices. The third is peer reviewing and conferencing. In the stages, we sharing the draft with another student with a focus on the content. And then for the next step is revising. In this stage, we can taking the suggestions of others and also once thought that improving the content and organizations of the paper. And then the next is reviewing and conferencing. In this stage, we sharing the revised text with the teacher, and editing, we can edit or checking the spelling, the punctuation, grammar, and improving the final version of the paper. And the last is publishing. In these stages of publishing, we sharing the writing project or final project of the writing with a real audiences by posting it on a bulletin or online, including it in a class book, creating an individual book, or putting it into an email. Next slide, please. All right, for the second method of the approach is share and interactive writing. In this method, shared writing similar to shared reading. That is provides learners a model of how to go about writing, unlike language experience, where the teacher is a scribe recording the student's words in shared writing, and then the teacher writes on the board or chart paper, asking for input from the students and explaining her decisions. And for the last is dialogue journals. Dialogue journals are a written conversation between a student and teacher that involve both free and guided writing. Maybe that's all from me. I will give it back to Rizky as a moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, well done, and Lisa, for the brilliant presentation. Now, let's move on to the next material. It's about reading and writing digital texts that are gonna be delivered by Konita. Konita, time is yours.
All right, thank you, moderator, for the chance. So, I will explain about the sample lesson that I took from the book Teaching Young Learners English by Juan Kang Shin and Jody Crandall. Okay,
This sample is about invitation to our performance. The first is about the student's profile. You have to write down what class you teach and state their English skills. Then what skills do you want to clarify in this learning? For example, like a skill to be emphasized, there are reading, writing, and speaking. And then there is a language. Maybe it's about this is about the theme. Like there are invitation and then vocabulary and expression used, like you are invited as PP, rehearsal, and readers theater. And then the next is about objectives. This is a very important thing. You have to really pay attention to what goals you want your students to achieve in the learning you create. Like for example, by the end of the lesson, student will able to first read and analyze sample invitation, and then the second talk about possible invites, and then the third is write an invitation. And then the next is there are what materials that you will use to support this learning. And at this example, there are 2 sample invitation, 1 blank invitation, and then paper and markers. And comes to the warm up. Here there is a section to capture their attention. And then, for example, remind children of Parents' Night and Readers' Theater. You say to them, class, in 2 weeks, what will happen at school? Right, Parents' Night. And what are we doing on Parents' Night? Readers' Theater. It's going to be so much fun. And then there is connect to prior knowledge and experience. Discuss classes and people to invite. Class, who do we want to invite to our Readers' Theater? How will they know when it is? How will they know where to go? Right, an invitation. That's the example. And then comes to the presentation part. The students should present 2 examples of simple invitation. And then they have to analyze the parts of an invitation, like date, time, place, form, and etc. And then ask students, what are the parts of an invitation? Are there differences between the 2 invitations? And then the next is comes to the practice part. This is the crucial part because, as you know, that practice can make perfect. The teacher gives students a fun template for an invitation, and then they have to fill the invitation properly. But we should give them guided practice before they doing the task. Like for example, at this example, as a class, the students write an invitation for the Readers' Theater performance using the language experience approach. After they give the ideas, and then the teacher writes them on the board. Children copy the major information from the board. They address the invitation to teacher and class that they have selected for the list. Then they design the invitation to make it look attractive. And then after that, the part of application, it's time to them to doing their task. The task is students individually write an invitation for their parents or relatives using the model provided, but changing the date and time to match Parents' Night. They discuss how to present this to their parents or relatives who don't speak English. And then the next part is of assessment. On formative assessment, the teacher can check to see if students can make the invitation correctly, or if the students can make the invitation correctly or not. And then after that, give them feedback and correction. And then last but not least is a follow-up session. At this example, after the teacher returns their invitation with correction, students will make the correction for the invitation to their parents or relatives. Then they make a nice design for the invitation and add the language to make the invitation complete. I think that's all. I'll give it back to moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Konita, for your great presentation. Okay, so there are so there are material that actually missed before. So it is about the e-pals. So I think I want to give it back to Wildan to deliver the material. So Wildan, the time is yours.
Okay, please back the slide into the digital writing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rizky. Okay, there are some digital writing activities. The first is ePals and pirate classes. This concept involves connecting students from different locations via email or online communication tools. It's a digital take on traditional pen pals where students can share their life experiences and cultural insight, fostering global connection and learning. And then the second one is photo autobiographies. In this activity, students use digital cameras to take photos that represent their lives and then create narratives around these images. It's a way for them to tell their personal stories and share their cultural backgrounds through a visual and written medium. These activities are part of the broader shift towards incorporating digital literacy in education, where students engage with various forms of digital text and communication. Maybe that's all from me. I give it back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Wildan, for delivering the material. Now we came to the conclusion from this presentation that will be delivered by Diana. So Diana, time is yours.
Okay, I think all the materials about teaching reading and writing to young learners have been presented by all the presenter. Now we come to the last part, that's conclusion. Let me conclude this presentation. The conclusion for this presentation is reading and writing activities should be meaningful while also providing controlled and guided practice to help learners progress. Children must learn basic reading and writing skills through a bottom-up strategy that includes systematic phonics activity for reading and product-based writing. Reading aloud, linguistic experience, or process-based approach are all effective ways to establish a meaningful context. Unit and lesson plans should include a variety of reading and writing activities and texts, such as opportunity for independent reading and writing, digital text, and opportunity for children to read and write to one another. Reading and writing are effective and complementary tasks, so children should participate in a variety of activities to improve their skills. Okay, I think that's all the conclusion for this presentation. So I'll give it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Diana, for giving us the conclusion of this material, and also that concludes our presentation today. First of all, I want to thank all my friends that have been delivered the material brilliantly, and also thank you for your kind attention. I'm sorry if for the mistakes that we made. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.